Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Buffalo Sabres. What's going on, Buffalo? What is going on? It has not gone the way that they maybe expected it to go, especially with how the preseason went for the Buffalo Sabres. They went through the preseason finishing with 10 points, 5-1 through the preseason, and then the regular season happens, and it seems like they forgot how to win through the first three games. They had a head-to-head with the New Jersey Devils. They lost both those games, and then they lost to the Los Angeles Kings. So obviously going overseas did not help them through the first two games. Then they lose their first game back. But are we going to see kind of a changing of the pace now as they finally pick up their first win of the season in Game 4? Patience is a virtue, but not in this case. You want to see them win a little bit earlier. So we're going to take a look at the Buffalo Sabres, maybe why they've been struggling, and can they turn this thing around? The answer is yes. We're only 4 games into the season, but we're going to discuss that. If you talk to most Sabres fans online, I know, take it with what you will, but obviously they feel like the sky is falling there in Buffalo. So we're going to discuss the Sabres here. So the Buffalo Sabres, like I said, to recap the first 3 games of the season, obviously things did not go well for them in their situation with the Devils in the Czech Republic or wherever they played. I forgot where they played. You guys will let me know. Well, they lose those games 3-1 and 4-1 respectively, getting outscored 7-2 on the road, and then they come back home for their first official home game of the season, and they lose that one 3-1. So now through the first 3 games of the season, you get outscored 10-3, and you're thinking to yourself, what is going on here? Why can we not score goals? Why are we giving up so many goals? We did so well through the preseason, scoring a ton of goals. Pretty much every game, they were scoring at least 3 goals a game. And then all of a sudden, the regular season happens, and just like that, everything just fell apart. Well, it seems like they turned things around at least for one game against the Florida Panthers, winning against the Florida Panthers 5-2 in game number 4. A much-needed victory for the Sabres, and hopefully a confidence builder as they take this season on the road to Pittsburgh, which will be live streaming that game. For my Sabres fans, stay tuned for that. We'll be live streaming that game tomorrow night. So anyway, for the Buffalo Sabres here, what are we looking at? Well, the Buffalo Sabres are a team right now that, like I said, there's a lot to like about the Sabres. And when you look at this team on paper, there's a decent amount of depth here. You've got young guys like Zach Benson jumping into the lineup, Yuri Kulich, Peyton Krebs, who's been around for a little bit on the blue line. This is a pretty solid team, right? And you're just waiting for things to kind of round out and these guys to mature a little bit. And you're hoping that they're going to buff out this season to the point where maybe they can make the playoffs. So there's a couple of changes to the lineup. Jack Quinn's in the lineup. He'll be playing his first game this season. Goaltending has been questionable through the first couple games here. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen did not play well in his season debut. He gave up 3 goals in that first game. Devin Levi played a lot better in his loss, but he still gave up 3 goals, and then he got pulled in the other one. So it's just one of those things right now for Buffalo where it feels like, they have injuries as well to Nicholas Aube-Kubel and JJ Peterka, but those shouldn't be the injuries that really hurt you that much. No discredit to those guys, but those aren't the injuries that should be really affecting them. Maybe a little bit in the goal scoring with Peterka out, but the fact that you still have Thompson, Cousins, those guys, those are the guys you really need to rely on. And, we're not seeing a ton of production from the top line, and that's why they moved Zach Benson to the top line. He'll be playing with Thompson and Tuck, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday night against Pittsburgh. I want to see Yuri Kulich get in there. I think this is a guy we're going to see more of. I'd like to see him make the Sabres team for this season, for the entirety of this season. This could be a situation where he plays the first couple games and they say, nope, we're going to send you back. That could very well happen. But I think for Buffalo, this is a situation where you need these guys to develop. And you have enough core there with Cousins and Thompson and Tuck and Zucker, some of these other guys like Greenway up front, where you're not necessarily putting all the rookies playing with each other. So there's enough of a blend there where I think they can rely on those guys kind of mentoring the younger guys through the early season struggles. And I think this is a good thing for them, as much as it sucks, because I know Sabres fans want to make the playoffs. Like, there's only so much patience you can have with a team. But in the Sabres situation here, it's one of those things where it's just going to take a while for things to kind of round out. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but especially with the goaltending, and that was a concern going into the season. Like, how good was UPL and Levi going to be? That's why they brought in backups. And I think we're in a situation right now where I think the most concerning thing is they're not scoring a ton of goals, yes. But I think the more concerning thing is Devin Levi and UPL. Those guys have to be on their game. And I think the goal scoring is gonna figure it out. The goaltending, I'm not as confident in. And that's the thing I think if I'm a Sabres fan, I'd be more concerned with, is the lack of solid goaltending from either one of them. I think right now as a Sabres fan, you have to be thinking to yourself, we know we've got a lot of young guys here, but we have enough guys here where they should be contributing more. And the fact that Thompson and Tuck combined for a goal and assist through the first 4 games, that's not enough. Dylan Cousins still held without a point through the first 4 games. Those are the type of things where you're going to Pittsburgh. That's the type of game where Pittsburgh really hasn't played that well to start the season. I know they had their game where they scored 6 goals this weekend, but they got blasted by the Rangers on opening night. They look like a team that could be a little bit shaky and a little vulnerable. Buffalo, this is a good opportunity for them to maybe step away from a team like Pittsburgh and really assert themselves as better than that. And I think as much as you don't like to say Pittsburgh's a good test for you for where you really are right now, I think it is for a team like Buffalo. I think both these teams are fairly close to each other in terms of where they're at right now and the team and people's expectations of both of these teams. This is a good way for Buffalo to kind of put themselves ahead of a team like Pittsburgh in a game like we're going to see on Wednesday. And like I said, it wasn't the best weekend for the Sabres in the first couple games of the season, but there's a reality where the first 2 games against Jersey, like, it was just a bad matchup. Like, they just might not match up well against the Devils. And then the game against the Kings, they kept it close. And then they beat the Panthers, who are a good hockey team. So to be freaking out and saying the sky is falling in Pittsburgh, in Buffalo, don't do that yet. Don't. It's too early in the season. I know they played 4 games, but it's too early, right? We got 78 more games in the regular season. They play against Pittsburgh. They have a couple of big games coming up this week. This is okay. It's okay. The sky isn't falling, but if we could see a little bit more goal scoring from this team and a little bit better goaltending, oh, that's cool. Look at that. I didn't know it did that. That's pretty cool. If we could see those things improve, this weekend they're on a road trip, so they're going to be away from home, which might be a good thing, right? They play in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. They have a back-to-back playing in Columbus on Thursday. And then on Saturday, they have a game in Chicago before heading home. There's a good opportunity for them. Maybe if they can win 2 of these 3 games on the road, you start to feel a little bit better about yourself. And even if your record is something like 3-4, well, that's better than the 0-3 record that you started the season. It's not all going to happen right away. And if they are able to put together 3 wins here, then we forget that 3-game losing streak because they're 500 again. They're 3-3, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think the Buffalo Sabres are okay. I'm not hitting the panic button yet. Yeah, they had a really bad start to the season. I do evaluate the preseason a little bit. I think they played well in the preseason. I think that accounts for something. I think it was just a bad matchup against the Devils. They lost a close one to the Kings, and they were able to finally beat the Panthers. So let's see how they do over the next 3 games. We'll kind of reach back and get an idea for where they're at. Like I said, stay tuned. I'll be doing a live stream of the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow night. Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. So if you're a Sabres fan or you're not a Sabres fan, you want to watch our first live stream this season, we'll be doing that at 7 p.m. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you again next time.